7 o'clock on Wednesday, June 5th. How did it get to be June already? 2024. And this is, we'll call this meeting of the IT committee to order. We'll begin with a roll call of the members. Bob Hassinger.
I'm here.
Amara Clark.
Here.
Dave Robbins is here. Bob Carroll is connecting.
His mute light went off, and I thought I heard something, but I didn't hear much.
Yeah, well, now that I see Bob on video, I'll officially call the roll for Bob Carroll.
Yeah, Bob's here.
Alrighty. Now, we're expecting Evan to join us. He has not obviously yet joined us, but we'll give that a few minutes. Just as a sort of a lead into the meeting. Last week, I asked Evan if he was going to have something ready for us this week, and as of a week ago yesterday, he said he would. Last night at the select board meeting, Evan mentioned that he had been out sick, so it's possible that Evan won't actually be able to join us tonight. Sometimes Evan lets me know ahead of time that he won't be able to make a meeting. I've not heard anything from him today, so we'll kind of wait and see. We don't have anybody in our attendee list,
Yeah,
but
I had a little bit of interchange with him over cable, and I got the impression that he was feeling kind of stretched really thin, needing to.
yes. So anyway, let us proceed with our agenda, such as it is. Our first agenda item, as always, is public input. As I said, we have no Zoom attendees, but if any one of us has anything to contribute that qualifies as public input, now would be the time. I suppose I have something that probably falls under public input of a sort. The reappointments, the reappointment letters went out for those of us who are due to be, whose terms expire this year. And I've been informed that Alan Baker is choosing not to apply for reappointment. So can't say that I'm entirely shocked by that, seeing as how Alan's been unable to make up the last several of our meetings. And he's been very busy with work and family. Evan is joining us. So anyway, so we can anticipate possibly a new IT committee member being appointed later this month when the select board does its annual appointments. I've been informed that there is at least one individual has applied for the opening. So at this point, I know nothing more than that, but that's where we stand as far as the committee membership goes. So that's my contribution to public input tonight, seeing as how we didn't have anything on the agenda that would otherwise cover that topic. So I will welcome Evan. Glad you could join us, and we're just ready to get into your part of our agenda here, which the first item is just a general update from you, Evan, if you have anything by way of general update to give to us. And then, of course, we have the primary agenda item here for tonight, which is the IT policy discussion. So what do you have, Evan?
So just generally, it's June, so we're not doing a heck of a lot of big money things. We're waiting for July to hit. We continue to work on our we'll call it in-network MFA, which is likely going to be a YubiKey type solution to satisfy the requirements of our cybersecurity insurance. So we continue to work through that. We have started to work through the replacement of a backup server that is at the fire department. Sorry, I just came in from watering the chickens and it's hot out there. So, but yeah, so we're working on a replacement for that secondary server, and if you remember that was a server that originated with that building in 2009, and I had replaced some drives in it, but it's pretty much end of life. Otherwise, we continue to just do the day-to-day stuff. We've got a new library director, so there was some back end work we did on that. That's kind of the highlights. It's been a busy few months with town meeting and the election, and now we're just settling in to kind of get back to it. So yeah.
Carol has his hands up.
Hey, Bob.
Hi, hey, how you doing, Evan? For YubiKey, so you need to have an actual device in their possession for the multi-factor? Is that why you're going to YubiKey?
Yes.
Okay.
That's the route they want us to go. They had pushed, a lot of us are using, well, everyone out of that tries to sign it out of network is using the Authenticator app.
Right.
But
and that's not good enough, huh?
well, it is, but it's municipal government, so I run into a union issue. And so the way around that is to issue a device. And so we looked at a bunch of different options, but the YubiKey solution seems to be the most cost effective
Right.
for what we're doing. So
sure. No, I just wonder why you were going that route.
Yeah, I mean,
usually,
I think
they do that for privileged accounts or admin accounts.
Yep.
But because there is a cost involved where the authenticator is essentially free, right?
Yep. And so there's a lot of us that have town managed devices, and it's probably going to stay Authenticator for those folks. There are people that don't want to have another thing, so
Right.
they're like, I'll just use the app on my phone. I don't care. But there's a core group in pretty much every different sector of government that doesn't want to give the town space on their phone, or however you want to put it. They have concerns about that. So rather than impact bargain that with 3 different unions, we're just gonna roll out YubiKey for some of the others.
Yeah, I remember you telling us about the union issue a couple of meetings ago, maybe it was.
Yeah, and I think from the way I cost averaged it, I think YubiKey is still cheaper than probably what we would get from impact bargaining. So just seems to be the way to go so far.
Yeah, so in any case, it looks like the outstanding issues around that have been resolved.
Yeah, we're getting there. The only other issue
it's still completing the deployment. I'm assuming.
Right. Yeah, I think we've figured out what we're going to do, and then the only other thing we've been working on, and I know cable committee as well as IT committee is privy to. We're trying to do public free Wi-Fi in public parks, and so we're doing that with a fiber vendor that we already utilize, and so that's getting closer. I hate to admit it, but I signed off on something today, and I don't remember what it was called. There's a lot of stuff I signed off on today, but it was related to the grant that we're putting towards some of this IT. It was the IT infrastructure grant. It's got a different name, but that's essentially what it is. So I finalized that grant paperwork today, and we're hopeful to get that. We think it's going to be once we get going, get through all the hurdles, then it's a pretty quick deployment. It's not super tricky because of the placement of things that we already have. So looking forward to that. I think that's a pretty cool project. And, a lot of towns farther east have implemented it, not a lot in Central Mass. Certainly not our size. So that's kind of cool to be rolling something like that out. And then just a minor thing, we lost we lost fiber connection to Station 3, which is the southern point of the F-man network. We believe it's related to a car accident and car into pole and a splice. So we actually have a crew tomorrow going up and trying to track down where we've lost connectivity with our fiber to that endpoint. But other than that, like I said, it's pretty, I guess, status quo, just running around, trying to keep our heads above water. So
Mostly same old, as far as the routine day-to-day stuff.
yeah, as far as IT goes, yeah, everything else is a new adventure every day. It's spring, so this is when the neighbor complaints ramp up. So we've been doing a lot of that type of work over the last month. So that's what we do. So
Yep. It's probably from your point of view, the fact that there are no major IT fires to put out is probably a good thing.
exactly. Yep. Compared to where we were 3 years ago, yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah. Yeah. Made a lot of progress over the last 3 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's good to hear.
Yeah. So otherwise, like I said, I don't, I don't have anything. We'll, like I said, we'll get our new influx of money in July and, start getting anything that's left on the vine. But honestly, we're in really good shape, and that's really positive.
Yep. And Charlie and company have been working out well for us, I gather.
Yep. We did just learn that Mark is no longer with CMD. He moved on, which did put a hiccup in a couple of projects we were working on. But we were able to pick up that ball and finish it up. So yeah, that was a little bit of a bummer because I've known Mark for a decade, so
Yeah.
been fun working with him. He's just a nice guy. I enjoyed working with him. But other than that, CMD's been working out great. They're very responsive. We still have one CMD employee in town 2 days a week, and that seems to be sufficient for what we need right now, and everything else is managed off site. So, that's been working.
So did Charlie have any plans to backfill for Mark?
If he did, we didn't go into that level of minutia as far as his day to day. I know Charlie, CMD in general has grown quite a bit in the last year and a half, especially a long time, over the years too. But they've added a lot of staff, so there's I just met a new staff person last week, filling in for our regular guy, but really, smart guy, and they knew what they were doing. So I'm not super worried about it currently, but I think Mark probably leaves a pretty big hole. He's a
Sure. Yeah.
very very intelligent guy. So yeah.
Sounds good. So I guess we might want to move into our next agenda item, IT policies. So where are we at with that?
We're not really anywhere, if I'm going to be completely honest with you. We've been slammed just getting through the spring, and I really have not made any headway. So, I mean, I think it's a very worthwhile project. It just had my attention elsewhere. I will say that I just, as of Monday, stopped being the interim library director that I was for the last 6 months. So that frees up a little time, and I'm hopeful to kind of get back to these projects that we have. I mean, I think it's super important, and I don't want to make the committee feel like I don't believe in the mission. I've been out straight doing other projects.
You only have so many hours in the day.
I know, but I want to get it. I want to get it done, and I want committee members to feel like we're accomplishing something meaningful, and I recognize that.
Yeah, my recollection from where we kind of left off with this discussion was that you were going to try to pull together all the existing existing policies, and you had that, I forget what it was called, the SharePoint or whatever,
Yeah.
that that we had
OneDrive.
uploaded some sample policies from other towns. So we wanted to look at what we have for policies, out of date as they may be, try to identify gaps that need to be filled, updates that need to be made.
Right.
Yeah, I uploaded a whole bunch of templates, and I did upload a spreadsheet for all the ones for policies and standards that we have.
Yep. Yep.
So that's all in there. So, you know, you could take a look at those, and, you know, at least it gives you a foundation, right? You don't have to start from scratch, and you can kind of pick and choose through those, and start to, you know, phase or prioritize which ones you need initially, right? And work on the others as you need them.
Yep. Yes. And the other component to this is, you know, I want to bring CMD along with the conversation.
Sure.
If we're going to stay our vendor, we're going to be in a tricky spot because we got to go back out to bid. And so, you know, it would be nice if we kept the continuity of CMD, especially moving into a project like this, because I think they got a good handle on what we're doing. But
And what's the calendar or the timing for the rebid?
we should be out to bid now. We're going to be out to bid probably in July, so we're a little behind. So July, August, September would be when we would probably award it.
Okay.
So I mean, we've got some time, and I have, you know, well, I don't really have wiggle room in the contract, but I've known Charlie for so long that we'll just kick the can until I get the bid settled. So, you know.
And you're probably going to use the same RFP, right, that you had used before.
Yeah, we really haven't. I don't think we need more. You know, we don't need more in-town hours currently. You know, I will say the other component to that is, and I know this is getting off the topic of policy a little bit, but you know, we have been having the internal conversation of whether, you know, we continue to go with this model of pretty much all outside, with a CMD type company, or do we hire an IT person for in-house, and then maintain a contract that's a little narrower in scope to do kind of the stuff that's over and above what the day-to-day person does.
Sure.
And there may be some value there, just with you know, having somebody around 40 hours a week. You know, our backfill would come from the services contract that we have with a CMD or a hub tech or whoever we wind up getting, whoever gets a bid. And then, you know, the help desk stuff and the kind of the back end stuff. But, you know, I think for what we spend, we could probably do okay with some kind of hybrid approach too. And so we've been mulling that around. And as we get more and more stable, it becomes more and more attractive, right? So.
And no, the situation with respect to the school department, right? No sharing and, you know, working anything with that full-time direct type resource and sharing. Yeah. Has that landscape changed at all?
You know, so I'll say this. I think that I don't think there's not a willingness to try on either my part or Jay's part.
Yeah.
You know, we have fairly different infrastructure. They're all Mac and we're all PC, and they have helped us out quite a bit, and vice versa. There's been a couple issues that we've helped out with. So there's.
Are they still Google?
They are Google, and we're no longer Google.
Right.
So I mean, Jay and I had talked about it, and it went not so good last time. But I also, you know, and I think Jay's cognizant of this, that the players are different. So there's some potential there to make things happen a little different.
But where, you know, you're trying to cover a lot of ground with the entirely kind of different stacks of solutions and technologies. It's kind of hard to do that. One's typically, either a Google or an Apple or a Microsoft, right? Or,
Right.
whatever. So kind of hard to get it all.
It is, and they've been both gracious and transparent. We don't really know what you're doing here, but we know our way around in general, so we'll try to help you out. And they have, Neil Trahan is the head of IT there, and he's a great guy to work with. Been a real team player with anything I've ever asked him for, really. So we've kicked it around back and forth. I don't know where we've really landed on a way that we all would feel comfortable making that happen.
Okay.
Yep. So at the moment, Evan, you're still a little bit up in the air as to the scope of the contract, or because you were talking about possibly bringing some of that in-house. Is that something you're thinking for this coming fiscal year or somewhere farther down the road?
No, so I think that the way we've been kicking it around is if we're going to do it, we're going to do it one of two ways. We'll either issue an RFP for the same services we have now as a 1-year contract, and then move in that direction. Or if we had decided that's not going to work, we would go out for a 3-year. But I've been talking to other town managers and other TAs that are similarly sized to us, similarly sized budget. And it seems doable for the money that we're spending, or possibly, a small amount more, but you'd also be getting a lot more hours in community, so, it's hard. I talk to communities that are same population, but a little more affluent, and they've got 4 IT people on staff, and they're doing all kinds of stuff. And, we don't have any IT on staff, really. We just have the contract. So I've been trying to just realistically pick our sister communities that I can compare us to.
Yeah.
And they're out there, and actually Mark Haddad, who was on the finance committee, so he's up in Groton, and Groton has an in-house IT person and a services contract, and that's worked out really well for them, and that's what kind of shoved me a little harder in that direction to look at that. Actually, it's interesting, their IT person also works for Meridian, the clicker company that we with. And he actually was at our first town meeting as the tech support for Meridian. So I got to talk to him quite a bit, and kind of chat him up about the municipal, IT world and infrastructure. So,
So I guess just to keep things from dragging out too much, it sounds like you haven't quite nailed it down yet.
Ani, please don't do that, honey. I'm on a meeting. Right. Yeah, we're still a little bit up, but we have a pretty hard deadline. I needed to do something by July, head in a direction. So
yeah, you're just not quite there yet.
Right, but we're close. Does anybody have any thoughts on that, one versus the other, or?
Well, I mean, I think it's all a function of the dollars, right?
Yeah.
So, and what the landscape there is, what you could spend. I mean, the hybrid seems kind of the best of both, because you would have kind of a backup for you for, contingency purposes, right? And risk avoidance,
right?
And some overlap. And, we would have some in-house capability. So, it seems more favorable in terms of risk or risk avoidance. And then for the non-break fix or BAU, what we would call it, business as usual stuff, where you need a little extra oomph, right, or non-typical skills, you get that from CMD or whomever, you know,
Right.
and get them to do like non-recurring items, right?
Yep.
Stuff that you do on server replacement, server builds, or migration, stuff like that. You engage them. So
Right.
to me, the hybrid sounds very attractive.
Okay.
I'd say, although I don't exactly have a lot of actual background in this level of managing IT infrastructure, it does strike me that the hybrid model has the advantage that you've got someone pretty much full-time, someone local, full-time, but you've also got extensive resources that you can draw on with a contractor. Because you get, if you can only afford to hire one staff, you're not likely to get one staff person that has the breadth of knowledge that
Right.
a CMD has. So it's really good to be able to have that, those additional resources to call upon when necessary, but someone local to handle more of the day-to-day.
Yeah, so like the networking stuff, right, or firewall stuff, they could handle the resets and the lower level stuff, right? And where does like the IP phones and telephony fall in all this? Does CMD do that too, or no?
Yeah. It's a mixture. So there are some things that CMD does and some that I need to put in a service call. But
So
again,
maybe pick up some of that too,
right. Yep. Yeah. I mean, having worked with them for a long time, they pick up a lot of that stuff, even though it might not be in the contract, so that we don't have to go and, they kind of do whatever we want them to do while they're there, and
But you
figure
could
it out.
have your local guy trained up on that,
Yep. Exactly. Yep.
and take some of the load off of them and just use them for the migrations or special projects kind of thing.
Yep. Yeah. Okay.
So there you go.
Yeah.
There's your answers. Just got to
Right,
find the
and-
money.
And if I
Yeah, and
may,
I was going to say I would echo what Bob and Dave said. Having been kind of the lone IT person in a number of different organizations, it's really good to have that kind of deeper bench or deeper kind of level of expertise to be able to call upon when needed. Right? Because sometimes, you're just out of ideas or you don't know how to solve a specific problem, and being able to quickly call in an expert in that area, I think would be really beneficial. Right. So, and at the same time, I think that having somebody on staff is going to give you kind of that a little bit better of a pulse on where the pain points are in the organization and things like that, and be able to kind of feed that information back to CMD so that they can be a little bit more strategic with the services that they provide.
Right. And I think it would help them, CMD them, in terms of cost avoidance, right? So if they were using bigger blocks, right, and like someone just needs their password reset or switch needs to be reset or something really minor, you wouldn't have to bug them to go do it, right? You could,
Right.
This person do all that break fix and lights on stuff.
Okay. Right. All right.
right, anything else on that particular sort of side topic? We can
That's a good
circle
side
back, circle back to the main topic, which was the IT policy discussion. It's kind of, I'm wondering, not so much where we go from here. I think we got an idea of where we want to go. It's more a question of when. And normally our next meeting would be July 3rd, which, which it could be problematic for a number of reasons. Do we have any sort of realistic expectation of being able to make some progress on the policy discussion before, say, August? Because I might suggest that if we sort of kick it down to the first week of August, it gives us pretty much 2 months to noodle on it, and between what we as a committee might look at from a material that's already there, from what you can look at, Evan, and maybe you'll nail down the question of the IT contractor to the point where that may inform some of the policy discussions.
Yep. I think if you as a group are willing to go till the first week in August, then I can. It sounds like a long time, but I'll be here before I know it. But yeah, no, I can commit to that, and I'll have, like I said, more answers on the vendor part of it, anyways.
Yep.
Yeah, and if you want or need help with reviewing the RFP or anything like that, I think you could just send that out, right?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, if I remember right, we worked somewhat kind of together on the RFP last time around.
Yep.
And I think we pretty much polished that up to the point where I think you said earlier tonight, Evan, you don't anticipate any major changes unless we go to the hybrid model. Then that will be,
Yeah, and then it's just noodling down the scope. And so having had this conversation, what my intent is I'm going to reach out to a couple of my TA contacts that have that model and ask them for their last RFP, so I know I can see what their scope was, and then their job description for their municipal IT person, and see how they match up. So, and also get what they're paying currently for their salary.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask too. Do we have any sense of where rate cards are at, right? Have these increased, 10% or year over year? Or the flat, or what for the
as far as what as the CMD contract would go, or that RFP?
Well, CMD or anyone, right? Have the vendors and the providers, right? Are they really hungry and you can do okay, or everyone's like any of the commodities nowadays, food or gas or anything, gone up quite a bit?
I think we'll find that they've gone up quite a bit. Although I think that, again, I think we're in a good position, again, because of the longevity we've had with CMD.
Sure. Yeah.
To get a pretty good, a good rate out of them that isn't a 10%, which will make a difference too, as kind of how we look at this. So. Yeah, because municipal staff right now are very hard to hire, and in every single, I know it is everywhere, but it's been especially hard in municipal government. And
hard to hire. Why? Because of costs consideration.
Well, municipal government in general is no longer the career path that a lot of people take. They look for a more flexible, environment. It's just shifted quite a bit. The municipal worker of 32 years in the same job, doesn't really exist anymore. And so we find ourselves in a market that's highly competitive and, also just generally hard to fill positions. I mean, if you look at what's even the town administrator market, the costs or the salaries and perks and stuff to woo people has gone through the roof because there's nobody to take the job. You got to get somebody from somewhere else.
Sure.
You got to woo them away from another town. So it's like that with kind of everything. And from what I've heard from other TAs about their IT folks is that it was challenging to get somebody that had any experience because they're working in a different environment, a hospital environment, or this environment or that environment. It was just hard to be competitive salary wise and benefits wise. So, but it doesn't mean it's insurmountable. So,
but AI is going to take care of all that.
there you go. There you go.
Yeah, no, we'll just hire ChatGPT as our IT person.
I was thinking about just employing that for neighbor disputes and just see what happens. Maybe that'll work itself out. Don't like your neighbor's fence here. Talk to this for a minute. Let's see how this goes.
We use it for customer care. and
Yeah.
customer stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so we'll see. So it's definitely a competitive market in the municipal world, so.
Okay.
I hear up at CMRPC that they have pretty much a similar set of challenges. They've been hiring and looking hard.
Yep, yep. Yeah, it's tough. You know, our biggest downfall, I think, in municipally is that our benefits stink on the front end. So, I mean, technically, when you get hired by the town of Grafton, you work a full year before you even get a week of vacation,
Hmm.
which was the norm in 1985, but it's not the norm now. And a lot of people, they want their time. They're not even, salary's not even the biggest driver. It's
Yeah.
time and flexibility and all those things. And I don't know if you've noticed this, but government is not the most flexible organization to work within. So, you know, we're trying to become a little more hip to the times, but it's
Yeah, some of that, you know, some of what you describe is what are now perceived as pretty stingy benefits. That was pretty much the norm in the corporate world when I first started working in the corporate world 50 some years ago. But
Yep.
it changed fairly quickly through the 70s.
Yep. Yep.
Anyway, so sounds like we'll plan on getting back together the first week of August and
Yep.
pick up the policy discussion. And we probably don't have anything else to occupy this committee's time between now and then. Just looking at our agenda for tonight, the next agenda item is to review and approve previous meeting minutes, which we don't have. And given that Alan is going to be stepping off the committee, we'll have to work out how to catch up on minutes. And then at our next meeting, whenever it is, we will reorganize and task someone with the responsibility going forward. But for now, we have nothing to do on that.
So who else is up, David? Who else is up for renewal?
I don't remember who else was up. Obviously one of the four of us, but it wasn't me.
I didn't hear anything.
And it's definitely not me because I've been in for about a year now, right? It's a
Right.
3-year term.
As a matter of fact, let me just quick check while we're talking about that. It may be that only one of us was up for renewal. Information Technology Committee. 24. Bob Carroll was, according to the website, Bob Carroll was up for renewal this year.
Okay. I haven't heard anything or got anything.
Well,
Are they still doing it with the Board of Selectmen and I have to basically fight for my job again?
No. No, you don't have to come to that. I will follow up tomorrow with Amber, Bob, and
Okay.
see what's up with that, and just make sure you're on the reappointment list. And
Either that or the date on the website is wrong.
well, that
No,
could be it.
that's probably right, David, because it's been a while.
But I believe either Amber or Cindy was sending out letters to everybody who was up for reappointment. So if you haven't received a letter, Bob, either there was a glitch there, or according to their records, this wasn't your year.
Well, and it's Grafton too. Sometimes, you get it the same day, right? And other times it takes 2 weeks through the post.
Yes, curiously enough, Sue and I had conversation with Candy because neither one of us received our requested mail-in ballots for the town election last month. And Candy wasn't not at all sure why. They have it on record as having mailed out, but never reached our house. We don't know why. So yes, the good old snail mail occasionally is not 100% reliable.
Right.
we,
All right.
we were just talking to her and going around about the dog licenses, which were sent out, and we don't have any record of them arriving. back in whatever January. So maybe there's a little glitch someplace in the mail system.
Maybe. I sent Amber a email already, Bob. So we'll look into that in the morning.
Okay. All right. Well, before we adjourn, so let me know how you do with YubiKey. That's why I'm interested, because we're looking at them too.
Okay. Okay.
And
Yeah.
we're thinking of implementing, but only on our privileged access accounts. So
Okay.
our admins and service accounts, those kinds of things. But we will be implementing it. So if you get stuck, I'd be interested. Or if you share experience, or if you need any help, I'll do what I can.
All right. Great. I appreciate that, and we'll let you know.
All right. And moving on to our agenda, we do not have anything that we need to discuss in the context of an executive session, so
So I move we adjourn.
Second.
moved and seconded that we be adjourned. Mr. Carroll,
Aye.
Mr. Clark,
Aye.
Mr. Hassinger,
Aye.
and Mr. Robbins votes aye. Motion carried unanimously. We are adjourned. Thank you very much for taking the time this evening.